So this morning, it's really early, and I'm getting started. I'm doing a couple of different things this weekend. I am making a cherry cheesecake. I'm going to make some buttermilk biscuits, and then I'm going to make some cream of anything soup mix to put in the pantry so that when I need cream of chicken or cream of mushroom or cream of vegetable, anything, onion, I'll have the soup mix, and then I just need to add what the flavoring is. So I'll show you how to do that later. But to make the cheesecake, I need to make a graham cracker crust. And so I'm going to tell you a little secret. I don't use graham cracker crust. I follow all the instructions for a graham cracker crust, but I make the crust with the cookie flavor that I choose. And typically I would have already homemade pecan sandies. I checked in the freezer, I don't have any. So I bought the KWOW brand of pecan sandies. And I'll grind them up just the same amounts as if I was making a graham cracker crust. It's just going to be with pecan sandies. I use these because it has a very mild flavor. It really doesn't add a lot to the flavor of the cheesecake, which the whole point of the cheesecake is the cheesecake, not the crust. And I have found that it just is so much better. It's lighter. You know, it has a little subtleness. You could make this without the pecans in it if you have a person that has a nut allergy. You could do just the sandy recipe, which is just basically a shortbread cookie. That would get rid of the whole nut thing. When I make cheesecake, I make everything in my food processor, not a mixer, not the KitchenAid, nothing like that. I have all my ingredients out for the cheesecake coming to room temperature. So I have 6 eggs, 4.5 8-ounce packets of cream cheese, sugar, and vanilla. And I'll pull the sour cream out when I'm ready because it doesn't need to be at room temperature. But the first thing is to put this entire pack of pecan sandies into the blender, or the food processor, I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the trash. I've already preheated, or I'm preheating my oven to 350 because that's what you bake this at. And then I'll show you how I do the water bath for the cake itself. But first I have to make the crust in the pan. So I have a springform pan back there. It's all ready to go. So I'm going to put in a tablespoon of regular sugar. And again, I use the organic. You don't have to put in a full tablespoon if you don't want, because it's, you know, you're making it with cookies and they're already sweet. I need 6 tablespoons of butter, which is almost a full stick. Let me get a stick of butter here. I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the freezer. I am back to using salted butter, so I got rid of all the unsalted butter. I will not be adding salt to this. Typically for the cookie crust, you don't need to add salt. Let's see, 6 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 8 tablespoons in a stick of butter. So I'll put that to the side. I will get a small bowl to heat this in the microwave. Knowing that in the microwave, butter is going to pop and snap and crunch and do all that stuff. I'm going to cut it into smaller pieces because this is frozen butter. Okay. Let's get this in here. All the little pieces. Get it in the microwave. I'm going to do 25 seconds on high. Probably won't take that long. We'll hear it pop and crack in a minute. I just got a new rug in for the kitchen. I'm so excited. Every 2 years I change out the rugs in my house. They're all outdoor rugs because of the animals. And the one that's in the kitchen that I'm stepping on, I typically take it and put it outside underneath my outside furniture. So that's going to be one of my projects when the weather is warm enough to do that. Right now it is not warm enough. I'll put my knife right there. Butter should be melted. All right, another 20 All right. My stove is, or my oven is heating up. I've got everything ready. Like I said, I'm making 3 recipes today. Everything for the cheesecake is here, except for the pan. So I need to cook this in a water bath, bake it in a water bath. And what that is it's a roasting pan. And I will put about 1 inch of water in the bottom of it. Then once the crust has cooled, because I'm not going to put the cake mixture until it's cooled, I put this into the water bath and then fill it up about halfway. What that does is it makes the cheesecake cook at a lower temperature, even though the oven is set at 350. It will cook at a lower temperature, and it'll keep that custardy, cheesecakey feel that you want. If you were to put it in a dry oven, it would be more coarse, more cakey. So having that water bath fixes that issue. This is just a normal springform pan, and I've taken 2 sheets of aluminum foil that are double the size of the pan, and I have set the pan right in the middle and then crinkled it up all on the sides to make sure that when I put this in the water bath, no water is going to get into the cheesecake, and no cheesecake is going to get into the water if it leaks out the bottom. Alright, so let's put this in here. This is our butter. Now I'm adding it with the cookies. That in the sink. This is going to make noise for a second. Sorry about that. There's no way around it. Turn that on. And if you don't have a food processor, yes, you could simply put this in a Ziploc bag or whatever bag of your choice, and beat it with a rolling pin. That was not my choice this morning. My thing is not coming off. All right, down and over. It shouldn't be that hard, machine. Yeah, there we go. I don't use it that often, it gets mad at me. I'm going to keep it out because I need it for the next step, which I will be turning off the camera while this is baking, and we'll wait for the crust to cool down to get the next step done. Okay, so my cookie crumbs, I'm going to put this in here. My cookie crumbs are all crumb. My oven is preheated, it just went off. I'm going to drop this into my springform pan. Make sure I get all the crumbs. All right. And again, you can use whatever flavor cookie you want. You could use Oreo cookies. You could use just shortbread. I like pecan sandies. That's my personal preference. Let me get one more thing before I forget. Let's find it. There it is. I can't reach. All right, let me go to the other side of the kitchen a second. Hang on. I'm short. I don't have my little stool. Ouch, up. What I want is one of my little stemless wine glasses. And the reason I want that is because I'm going to use it to pack down my crust. So I'm going to spread the crumbs out evenly across the bottom of this springform pan. If you have enough cookies, if you're making a 10-inch, you'll probably need 1.5 to 2 packs of those cookies. This is a 9-inch pan. Okay. Now what I need to do is pack these down. That's where the cup comes in. And use it to pack down the cookies. Get it as close to the edge. You could use this is my personal choice. You could use a measuring cup. You could use the back of a spoon, which is what I'm going to pull out now that I got that all packed down. Put that in there. Spoon. Get it up right up across the edges now. The cup won't do that, sorry. You want to get it, you want it as compacted as possible, because if it's not, when you go to slice the cake, it will fall apart on you. So you'll have crumbly crust. Nobody wants crumbly crust, right? Alright. I'm just packing the edges along the edge of the pan. And I have never found a better, I don't like sticking my fingers in there, so if I don't have to. Make sure that everything is compacted well. Okay. I don't like a super thick crust. That's another thing. I'm not making this super thick. I could have used a pack and a half of cookies in this, but I want like a 1/4 inch crust. I'm not going for a 1 inch crust in my cheesecake, or even a 1/2 inch crust. The whole point of this is not the crust. So I'm going to stick this in the oven. Preheat it, 350 degrees, 10 minutes. I'm going to let that cook, and then I will pull it out in 10 minutes. It has to cool completely before I put the cheesecake mixture in it, so I'm going to let that cool for at least an hour. I'm going to make some coffee and eat some breakfast, and then I'll be back to make the cheesecake filling. Thanks, y'all. See you in a bit. Great, so it's been about 45 minutes. My crust has been baked. It's in the bottom of my springform pan. It's cool. So I'm now going to sit that in the bottom of my roasting pan like that. I'm going to move this over here. We'll get to this in a minute. This is going to create my water bath. But before we even go there, we need to mix up our cheesecake. So I've got all of my ingredients sitting here. Some of it measured out, some of it not. So the first thing I need is 2 1/4 pounds or 2 1/2 pounds of cream cheese at room temperature, because you want it soft. So I'm going to open all these packets up, put them right into my food processor. And again, like I said, I'm going to use the one tool today to do all of this. This one. I wish cream cheese packets were easier. They could just sell it in a tub format as opposed to a brick at the same weight. It'd be easier to get out of a container. Because inevitably, some of the aluminum foil always rips. And different brands, I find, come out easier. The Philadelphia cream cheese comes out of the packet easier. And I know everybody loves that so much, but not a big fan. I actually find that this very generic brand from Walmart has the same ingredients as the Philadelphia. It's a little bit harder. It sticks more to the packet. Has the same flavor. It's probably actually made in the same plant, because most name brands have generic brands. They make them, they wrap them as generic, and then sell them to the end seller. This one does not want to open. There we go. Maybe? Huh. That one is stuck. Alright. That's 2. This is 3. And it looks like a lot for my little mixer, but when it liquefies, not so much. Okay. There's block 3. Push it down. Here's block 4. And then I'm going to do half of the 5th block. And that's okay. I can use the other half in something else today. Like I have some Assaggio bagels from Panera in the freezer. That's my favorite Panera bagel. I don't know why they actually call it a bagel though, because it doesn't resemble a bagel. But I love those. So I buy half a dozen every other week. And then I stick them in the freezer, and then when I have a craving, I just take one out, nuke it for 26 seconds, which is, I found, the perfect amount of time in my microwave, and then put it in to my air fryer on the bagel setting, and then bring it out and have a nice bagel. This packet I only need half of, so I'm going to stick that right there, just like that. Look at that. So I got all my cream cheese in there. Scrape it down. Make sure it all gets in. This piece right here, I will put in a cellophane bag or Ziploc, whatever you want to call it, later, and I will use it on my bagel. Okay. One of the things I'm going to need to do for my water bath is to heat my water. So I have my electric kettle plugged in. We'll turn that on. For the water bath, you always want the water going in hot. You don't want to have it cold and then have it to heat up in the oven. So we're going to put it in there hot. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, my oven is preheated at 450. I've got this. I'm going to combine the cream cheese with the sugar, which I have 1.25 cups of my organic sugar. I'll pour that in there. Okay. I'm going to combine that first. Let's see if I can get this to go in here. There we go. All right, so make noise. Check it real quick. Okay, it's getting nice and there's a piece right there that needs to scrape down. And scrape down the sides. Okay, smells wonderful. Cream cheese and sugar, what wouldn't smell good? What you're trying to do is make sure there's no lumps in the cream cheese mixture. If you were doing this by hand with a hand mixer or even a KitchenAid, it would take about 5 minutes. But by doing it in the food processor, you're reducing the time to mix. So we've got it scraped down. I'm going to pulse now because I'm going to be adding eggs. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to transfer the eggs one at a time into this bowl. Oops, I just crushed an egg on the counter, see? Doing things live. Wonderful things. I just crushed an egg, hang on. Onto my brand new rug. Okay. And all over the kitchen counter. So my kettle is boiling. I'll wash this down in just a second. Right now I just want to get the egg white that poured down onto the counter off the. So I need to get another egg. And this one will not be at room temperature. Sorry. But I need 6 eggs. I can't believe I did that. Alright, so I'm going to crack the egg into the first bowl. Inspect it, make sure it's okay. Pour it in. Pulse. My Cuisinart is a little funny, it needs to have that. Okay. Pulse. And then the next egg. And I got a total of 6 eggs. Open this little hole. You don't want to make a mess, right? I think I'm going to do is turn it low. So I crack the eggs and add them. So I inspect the egg. You can tell the change in the sound of the mixture. For a minute. Alright. Now the last step is to add our sour cream and our vanilla. My vanilla again is my homemade vanilla. This is one of my gift bottles that I give out. I had a couple left over this year. So how much vanilla? I need a tablespoon. So I do this, I'm sorry. I don't think there's ever too much vanilla. So I'm going for about a full tablespoon instead of a half. Then I need my sour cream. So I need a 1/4 cup of sour cream. So I have a 1/4 cup measure. Pretty sure I probably hit it the first time. Yep, look at that. Alright. Take this out of the cup. Put it down into the mixer. Down you go, baby. Alright. Down it goes. Alright, that's there. I'm sorry, I love sour cream too. I could eat this instead of yogurt with fruit in it. Put this back in the fridge because it's not at room temperature. I'm going to blend this up real quick. I'm going to scrape it down because I can see some of my vanilla sitting at the top. A nice little vanilla layer. I'm going to scrape it. Make sure there's no lumps. You want a nice smooth consistency. Yeah, that's beautiful. And remember, we didn't put a ton of sugar in here, so set that over there. Blend it up again. That's going to be enough blending. Let me clean up my water is boiling. So, one of the things I do, being a slob this morning is one of the things I do. I don't like to put the water into the roasting pan on the countertop because then I have to carry it from here to there. So what I'm going to do, the water's boiling, turn it off. My oven, like I said, is preset at 450. It's going to lose a little bit of temperature because I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to sit my water bath with the crust in it down on my pan. I'm then going to fill it with water, the boiling water, into the pan. This way I'm going to see if I need a little more. I probably did. Pan's floating a little bit right now because it doesn't have any cake filling in it. So I'm going to go ahead and boil up another pan of water, another pot of water. It boils really quick in these electric kettles. I love these electric kettles. Alright, put it in, put it on. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer my cheesecake mixture. Losing weight, it's getting hard to keep my pants up. It's a terrible thing and a good thing all at the same time. I'm going to transfer this into my cake pan. It's pre-made crust. Okay. I'm going to get my spatula to help me here. But let's take this out. Let's take the blade out. Alright, blade's out. Scrape it. Get as much of everything as you can. You don't want to lose any of this great cake mixture. Get it into your cake pan in the oven. Okay, more. Alright. Okay. Water's still boiling. We're going to wait just a few seconds for the water to finish boiling. I'm going to clean up a little bit. I always put the knife in the opposite part of the sink that I'm washing dishes in, so I don't stick my hand in the sink and slice it open. Alright, let's see. Following my directions, everything's in. My water bath's ready. And we are going to bake this at 450 for about 15 minutes. And get the water going here. I'm going to go ahead and close the oven for now. And I don't know, I might be high enough. Let me get another towel. I think we're high enough with the water. Come on, that'll close. So this is one of your problems. Okay, I'm gonna get some water spill. There we go. All right. Whew. I'm not gonna need this, so I'm gonna turn it off and set it over there. I'm gonna reset this to 450. I'm gonna set a timer for 15 minutes, okay? And in 15 minutes, I'm gonna leave the oven door closed. I'm gonna reduce the heat for 225. I'm gonna let it bake for another hour to hour and 15 minutes, and I'll check it. It should still have just a little, I mean the slightest bit of a wobble in the center, and then it'll be done. And then I will pull it out, let it sit for about an hour. If I want, I can pull it out of the pan then and just refrigerate it. But what I think I'll do is I'll just take it in the pan, take the foil off, release the sides after it's cooled so they're not stuck in the refrigerator. Put the sides back on, cover it and stick it in the fridge until tomorrow. Later on today, we'll make the cherries that go on top, and then I'll do my soup mix. So we'll get that all done this afternoon. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so another part of what I said I was going to do today is show you how I make cream of anything soup prep. So I need some cream of chicken soup this week, and I absolutely hate using the canned version of it because there's just so many things in it. So I worked ages to come up with this, and I don't know that it's perfect. It is perfect for what I need. You guys would have to make it and let me know if it's good for you. But it works for what I need. And I'm not using all the ingredients I can't pronounce. So I try to make a batch of this once every couple of months. Gonna come in, Dixie? Come on in. And when I get low, then I make a new batch. So this is literally just going to be flavored with a little bit of chicken broth. It's the base. So you can make this with a vegetable bouillon if you want. I use chicken. I turn this into cream of mushroom, cream of carrot, cream of asparagus, cream of chicken. You can turn it into cream of anything. My list of ingredients are dry powdered milk, cornstarch, bouillon, thyme, garlic, parsley, and black pepper. No salt. We will add salt when we are making the soup. So first off, I need 4 cups roughly. You can see it falls out. 1. You can use any brand. 2. I think this is going to meet just 4 cups. 3. Yep, that's going to be just 4 cups. Okay. So this is what, 32? Yeah, it's a pound. So, all right. There's my dry powdered milk. You can use any brand. There's a, is it Nindo or something like that? You can buy at most grocery stores. You could use Carnation. I find this brand right here. This is from Medley Hills Farm. It's whole powdered milk. It's full fat. You can use low fat if you want. I choose full fat. I need 1.5 cups of cornstarch. So this is always the hard one because cornstarch is as bad as powdered sugar. So a cup. I'm going to go ahead and roughly measure 1/2. Whew, cornstarch everywhere. Kitchen glitter. Cornstarch and powdered sugar. Kitchen glitter. Alright, let me wipe that up real fast. I don't need the kitchen glitter everywhere. Alright, and I'm not mixing anything yet because I'm waiting to get all of my ingredients in. I need about 1/2 cup of instant bouillon. So this comes in little packets. Get my scissors. Each packet is how many ounces? So this is 2.8 ounces total. Each packet is 1/4 teaspoon, so all of this is supposed to go in. This is my first time using the Goya, so we'll see how that turns out for me. That is more than a teaspoon. We're going to say that's just under 1/4 cup. So I'm going to use 2 packs. And that's 2 packs because just like yeast, it comes connected packs. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to use 2 packs of the Goya. Typically, I have a jar that looks something like this that's got powdered bouillon in it that I buy at the restaurant store. But I'm trying this because I got this locally and I was trying to make it with all local things that you could get at Walmart or Martin's or Kroger's, wherever you shop. Alright, so then I need onion flakes. I don't have onion flakes, so we're going to convert to onion powder. And we're just going to sprinkle. So it was 4 teaspoons of onion flakes, so we're going to say it's a full tablespoon of onion powder. I need my thyme, and again, I'm not big on the measurements. Parsley, so I'll put the recipe in the comment section of the video. Parsley is just my preference, it's something I like. And then black pepper. So I got these little pepper grinders. I like them. You only need a teaspoon of pepper for all this. Again, I'm not measuring, I'm just doing it by sight. Because you have to do these things the way you want them. And I know after having made this many, many, many times, that this is going to work out the way I want it to. Alright, and then we just mix this up by hand. Like I said, be careful because that cornstarch is in there. That cornstarch is, or arrowroot, you can use arrowroot if you prefer, same amount, is your thickening agent for your soup. Okay, make sure this is all blended well. My timer is going off behind me to tell me that my cheesecake has been in the oven for 15 minutes. I'm now going to reduce the temperature to 225. I'm not going to open the oven, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to set it for the timer for another, let's see, 60, we'll go an hour. So my timer is set for my cheesecake to sit in the oven at 225 for an hour. It's been in for 15 minutes at 450. All right. Just make sure you got this blended up really good. So I have some mason jars that I'll put this in, and I just stick a label on it that says cream of anything soup. And then when I want to make cream of anything soup, I just literally take a cup of this with a cup of water and mix it. And you've got your cream of anything soup. I have used heavy cream, get it more creamy. And if I do that, I add the cup of water and then 1/2 cup of heavy cream. You can reduce the amount of this that you use to like 1/2 cup or 1/4 cup, depending on how thick you want your soup. I would say if you're not used to using this mix, Start with a 1/4 cup to a cup of water. You can always add more because the cornstarch in it, the thickener, is not going to clump up on you. And the dried milk will dissolve and make cream. And that's it. It is literally just a bowl of cream of anything base. If you wanted it to be with mushroom, you could do dried mushroom. You could soak the dried mushrooms and then take the water and use that to make the soup base. If you want it more chickeny, because right now it's not going to be super chickeny, it's just a background flavor, you can add chicken broth instead of water. You can add bone broth instead of water. You can add more bouillon. The same with beef. If you wanted asparagus, you can boil up your asparagus, use the water to mix, and replacing the water with any of the flavors you want of boiled vegetables. And then make sure you grind up the vegetable and add it so it has all of the nutrients from the vegetable. But this is cream of anything soup mix. And it will make a wonderful cream soup for you. And it doesn't have the list of ingredients that I can't pronounce. I'm pretty sure most people can't. So, all natural ingredients: dry powdered milk, onion, thyme, parsley flakes, black pepper, and cornstarch. Will give you everything you need. And like I said, experiment with the amount of liquid you add when you're making your base. Start with a 1/4 cup of the mix, then go to a 1/2 cup, and then go to a cup, depending on how much soup you plan on making. But I would start with the smaller amount because it's always easier to add more. You don't want to have to keep adding liquid and end up with more soup than you really wanted. You could do just a small portion, like a single serve, by adding the base to a 1/4 cup of water with a couple tablespoons of this in the microwave. Heat it up, stir it up, taste it, add your things to it, your flavorings. If you had some frozen asparagus or frozen peas or any frozen vegetable, defrost them in the microwave, stick them in, stir it up, put it back in the microwave and cook it again. All right, that's it for now. The cheesecake is still in the oven. I'm going to go ahead and bottle this up, do a little cleanup in the kitchen, and then we'll come back and make the cherries. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so the last step in making the cherry cheesecake is having the cherry topping. Before I start, I want to show you, this is my jar of cream of anything soup. I wrote in it in Sharpie. All of that mix that I made, which was basically 5 cups of mix, fit in this canister, which was the powdered milk canister. So this will go in my pantry. This will sit for about 3 months. If you just did nothing else with it, but I will use this before then. Like I said, I use it in a lot of things. So I'm going to set that over there. So I brought out my handy dandy little stove. I'm going to be using cornstarch today to thicken my berries. And I've already created a little slurry here of cornstarch and water that I'll be adding. So I start with, got my little burner on. Let's see if I haven't used this in forever. There it is. Okay, so my little gas burner. Got my stainless steel pan on. I like to let it warm up a little bit before I put anything in it. Hopefully I've got it at like a medium burn. And that did not open well, so I'm going to get the scissors out. Cheesecake is still in the oven. I'm going to make the cherry topping and put it in the fridge. And then when the cheesecake comes out after it's sat for about an hour at room temperature, I'm going to put it in the fridge. I will finish it up tomorrow. So y'all get to see tomorrow what it looks like. I'm going to get a spatula. So I use dark sweet cherries. I use the Walmart brand. Literally all that's in this bag is ingredients, dark sweet cherries. There's no sugar added. There's no juice added. It's just the cherries. You could add, while you're making this, some liqueur if you wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and start stirring these as they heat up. I don't want to put my slurry in yet. You could put some orange liqueur, some Courvoisier. You could put whiskey in it if you wanted to. I do have to add some sugar. So I've got my sugar here. Because again, These are sweet cherries, but they're dark cherries, so they're a little more tart. So I'm going to do about a half a cup of sugar. That's me and my measurements. Sorry, guys. But after years of doing this, it doesn't take a lot for me to see. All right. Stir this. The sugar is going to help the cherries release their juices, which is what we want. I might put the juice of an orange in here. In fact, let me go ahead and do that. Turn that off for a second. I've got one orange right here that I need to use. So I'm going to go ahead and this should be, after last week's debacle with the lemons, this is a navel orange, so hopefully it has no seeds. We'll see when I get it open here. No seeds. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and put this juice in here. The orange is not going to flavor the cherries. It's just adding a little juice instead of just using water. And just the juice of half an orange with the sugar that's in there. Again, this is where you can add in other flavorings if you want, liqueurs, anything like that. Get this going again, and then just keep stirring. We don't want this super, super juicy. Let me go ahead and pull my cheesecake out of the oven because it keeps screaming at me. Let's look at it. We want a little jiggle. And I think I'm going to give it another 10-15 minutes. So let's set a timer for another 10 minutes. It's jiggly still on the edges. We want the jiggle in the middle. So while we're making the cherries, by the time we get the cherries done, the cheesecake will come out of the oven. As they're defrosting, they're releasing their natural juices into the orange juice that I put in. Plus the sugar has melted down. This is going to give us a beautiful, beautiful cherry topping. Okay. Just keep stirring and raise the heat a bit. When you add the cornstarch, you want the liquid at boiling if possible. You can mush some of the cherries as you go along. You don't want them all mushed because you want some to actually look like cherries. You could take half of them out and put it in a smoothie blender and puree it and put it back in. The thing with doing that, if you take it out and put it in the food processor or a blender, is it's going to create a dull, thick sauce. And what I want for my cherries, I want a really clear, crisp, shiny glaze when I put it on the cheesecake. I don't want it to be cloudy. Alright, it's doing really well here. I gotta figure out a rig where I can put a camera up so you guys can see what's in the pan. Let me get a bowl to store these in when they're done. This should fit. I'll pour them in here and you can see what they look like. You could eat these on top of anything. It doesn't have to be on top of a cheesecake. It could be mixed in with, once it's thickened, you could mix it in with, make cinnamon rolls with it. This is how I make my cherry pie filling before I put it into the pie. I want this to heat up really good and start bubbling. As soon as it starts bubbling around the edges, then I can put the cornstarch slurry in and get it to thicken up. The slurry is not going to dull the gloss. It does have to boil for the slurry to work. I'll keep checking my temperature. And this is going to be just enough cherries and jam to cover the top of the cheesecake. One of my favorite toppings on cheesecake is cherry. Let's stick this in here for a minute. I'm going to stir up my cornstarch. Always remember to stir your cornstarch slurry before you put it into your mix, because since it's not boiling, the cornstarch will float to the, or sink to the bottom. There we go. We're starting to get some bubbles. All right. Put this spoon in the sink. My spatula. I'm going to go ahead and pour my slurry. I don't think we're going to have to pour it all. Let it bubble. Let that boil. I'm going to keep this aside. I only put in about a tablespoon. I want to make sure before I put in more. This is like watching water boil. So once the cheesecake comes out of the oven, it'll sit on top of the oven on the stove to come to room temperature. Then I will unpack it, put a knife around the sides to loosen the sides so hopefully it won't crack the top. That's where most of your cracks come in, is when you pull the sides away. Or you don't pull the sides away and you let it chill, and then the sides pull the center of the cake away. So it's starting to boil. I'm trying to keep my eye on Izzy. She's outside playing with a carpenter bee. She will learn her lesson. I will allow her to learn her lesson. She forgot it from when she was a puppy, and she went after a carpenter bee. There we go. It's boiling nicely. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we need any more cornstarch. We're going to let this boil and thicken. Thickening up beautifully. When you initially put the cornstarch in, it's going to turn kind of cloudy, but as you cook it, the cloudiness goes away. Oh yeah, it's going to be nice and thick. Okay. And as I said, you could put some liqueur in here if you want. I don't feel a need, but some people like it. You could make this cherry mask and use it over crepes. All right, they're done. So what I want to do now, pour them into the bowl, get them off the heat. You can see it's very thick. A tablespoon of the cornstarch slurry was perfect. I made about 2 tablespoons just to be sure. Perfect. I am not going to stick my finger in there and taste it because it would like melt in lava there. And I'm going to put this in the sink, get the water running because what's left in the pan will stick if I don't get it rinsed off. So I've got my cherry jubilee or cherry compote, whatever you want to call it. Let's see. Like I said, once the cake is out of the oven and chilled, I will put this cherry topping on tomorrow before I serve the cake. I won't put it on before then. I don't want it to, what it'll do is it'll stain the top layer of the cake. And I don't want that. I will put it on as I serve it. You can see. Hot. Perfect. Cherry flavor. I do have an asbestos mouth, so asbestos lined mouth. All right, our cherries are ready. I'm going to let them sit here for a while they come to a little bit more closer to room temperature before I stick them in the refrigerator, because I don't necessarily want to change the temperature inside my refrigerator by sticking boiling hot cherries in there. So that's it for now. I will come back. I will clean up. I will come back. Oh, let's see. I think we have 2 minutes left. Let's go ahead and get this cheesecake out of the oven so that you can see it. Get another cloth. Bring it out. Lift up this water bath. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. The water bath helps prevent cracking. All right. So we've got a little little jiggle. Let me, where am I going to sit this? I'm going to sit this over here because I don't want to put it on my wooden countertop. Try and pull it out of the water bath. Water's going to go everywhere, so I'm going to go right across the countertop with it, and I'm going to sit the cheesecake there. I will show it to y'all when it's cooled out of the refrigerator, and then with a slice with the cherries on top tomorrow. That's our dessert tomorrow. So thanks everyone. It's been a fun morning, and I'm going to get more organized and do better videos. I'm trying to get back into it after 2 years. So cherry cheesecake and cream of everything soup powder. Again, when you're using this, start with a 1/4 cup of this and a cup of water, and then go from there. Add either water or broth as you see fit to the thickness that you desire. If you need to add more powder, do it by the tablespoon, add more powder, but this will give you a great base. Okay, that's it everyone, thanks. Okay, so the cheesecake is out of the oven. You can see it still has a little jiggle in the middle. It has cooled enough for me now to stick in the refrigerator. Once it's completely chilled, that jiggle will be gone. You can see I have removed the side from the pan so that I could make sure that it didn't tear open the top of the cake. So again, see the jiggle? All right. I'm going to put this in the fridge, and then tomorrow I will slice it and serve it.